welcome to Getting to Good Enough, a podcast to help you let go of perfectionism so you can do more of what you love. I'm Shannon Wilkinson, a life coach in Portland, Oregon. I'm a recovering perfectionist who's getting better at good enough.
And I'm Janine Adams, a certified professional organizer in St. Louis, Missouri, and I'm lucky enough to be naturally good at good enough.
And today we're talking about having difficult conversations and how to navigate them.
Shannon, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm doing okay too.
Good. You might hear in my voice it's a little scratchy.
I did notice that.
That is because I participated in the protests here in Portland over the weekend and got pepper sprayed.
Oh my. And that made your throat scratchy because you breathed it in?
It made my throat scratchy because it made me cough a lot. Well, the tear gas did too, but the pepper spray in my face made me cough so hard I almost threw up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Those are words I wouldn't have expected to hear a few months ago.
No, I've been having I've been saying a lot of things I never expected to say.
Yeah, I think that's a hallmark of 2020.
I think so.
Yeah.
I
So,
think so.
wow, that's heavy duty, Shannon.
Yeah, it was a pretty intense experience, and it's really opened my eyes to a lot of things, and I think that's sort of how we came to think about having this making this episode about difficult conversations is because a lot of what I've been learning about in terms of being a white woman showing up to protest in support of Black Lives Matter, and about how much my eyes are how do I say it? Like, my eyes are being open to a lot of things that I have never had to really think about before. And it's been very eye-opening.
Yeah, absolutely. My eyes are being opened based on your experiences, so I appreciate that. But there's so much to be learned, right? And you're sort of literally in the front lines trying to learn.
Yeah, I'm trying to learn, and the thing that I'm working to do is to not get defensive, to notice when I'm feeling defensive, and to sort of take that away from the conversation and process it on my own. I've been really sort of staying quiet in the spaces where these conversations are happening, because I really do primarily want to learn, and I know that I have a lot to learn since I've protested. I don't know, I started protesting. I remember going to protest in high school, and I've been, sort of showing up to protest before, but this is a completely different experience. And I haven't ever really sort of immersed myself in a movement quite like this before, and especially one that wasn't about me and my experience.
Right, where you're showing up in support of somebody else's, not their experience, because their experience is bad, but in support of them, and in support of Black people and what they're going through as a white person. That makes... is that the when you say that you're trying not to feel defensive, it's about conversations about white privilege and white people being a part of these protests?
Just the way in which white supremacy and racism shows up in ways that you don't really expect. I haven't been looking for it. And now that I'm looking for it, and now that I'm having it pointed out to me, and, I mean, it could be something as small as, in a sentence, capitalizing white and not capitalizing black.
Mm-hmm.
And so, when you cannot let perfectionism get in here, because that will either paralyze you or make you feel defensive and righteous, I think. And when, all of us need to open ourselves up to believing what other people are telling us. And I mean, and even, black people are not a monolith either. So,
right.
Black people have different ways of approaching how to dismantle systemic racism. And, even if they're in the same movement together, they have different thoughts about it and different personal experiences. And so, just sort of recognizing these are individuals, and this is not, one thing, and there's not going to be any differing opinions. But my opinion doesn't matter, really.
Okay, and so you're learning to listen, acknowledge, and then think before speaking. Think about it. Take it away and think about it.
Yeah, and then what I'm trying to do is take what I'm learning and bring it back to people that I can influence.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, social media is just, it's almost like it was set up for this.
Right. What an opportunity.
Yeah. So, I'm in groups where I'm learning about specific ways in which white women in particular are behaving in oppressive ways, and then taking that information and, helping other people learn it, other white people learn it.
Right.
So yeah, it's a process, and I see a lot of white women, when a black person will say, hey, I noticed that people are doing XYZ. I can't think of an example right now. But I noticed they're doing this, and when they're doing this, it causes this kind of problem. And then a lot of white women responding by saying, well, that wasn't my intention, or I didn't mean that, or instead of saying thank you for the information and then going away and processing it on their own. Like,
right.
they want to be absolved of their guilt.
Right, and it's difficult, right? Because for white people who don't consider themselves racist, to have actions pointed out to them that they didn't even realize they were doing, or didn't realize they were racist, the actions.
Right.
It's hard, I would imagine, not to get defensive, or it's natural to try to get defensive. And really, the thing to do, as you said, is not to get defensive, but rather to thank the person for telling you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
and appreciating that, it's probably, if they're having this experience, they're not the only ones that have experienced this.
Right.
And that what was I going to say? That like, when you're being told that something you're doing is harmful, I think it's a very natural reaction to want to explain how you didn't mean for it to be harmful, and this is what you really meant. But that's not helpful either.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there's a what do they call it? A presupposition in NLP. So it's basically like sort of one of the tenets of NLP, and other, there are other instances of using this idea, but the phrase is, the meaning of your communication is the response you get. So it doesn't matter what you intended to say, the meaning of what you said is how the other person took it.
Oh, it reminds me of the phrase my old boss Doug used to say, Janine, perception is reality.
Yep, exactly.
We were in public relations, and that was a meaningful statement.
Yeah, and so, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your intention was. If it is perceived as harmful, then that's information you need to take on and do something about.
Right.
And it doesn't really make any sense to try to argue with someone and say that wasn't harmful to you.
Right.
So it sort of reminds me too of the I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's like the concentric circles of grief idea. Mm-hmm. And where there's the person who's at the center of the grief, whether that's a person who just had a diagnosis, like a terminal diagnosis, or the person who lost their loved one or something, and then they're surrounded by a circle of people who are very closest to them, spouses, children, parents, like that, they're very closest friends. And then outside of that is sort of the larger next concentric circle of their closest friends, and then more distant friends, and then acquaintances. And the idea of this is that if you're having difficulty with the circumstance, with the whatever it is that's causing the grief or the upset, you don't talk to someone that's closer to the center of the circle. You talk to someone who is further out of the circle from you.
Mm-hmm. So you wouldn't tell somebody who pointed out inadvertent racism on your part, you wouldn't say to that person, complain to them about how that made you feel. But you might come to me and say, hey, I just learned this, and wow, that blew my mind, and I need to process it.
Or it felt, even if I came to you and I could say, God, it felt really bad to be told that, and to have, my words or my actions perceived in that way. And then that helps me sort of figure out how I can move forward in a different way so that my words and actions match more what my intentions are.
Right. And much more appropriate than saying that to the person who initially started the conversation.
Exactly.
That's very helpful, I think. That's like a navigational tool that in these difficult times, that's, I think, really beneficial.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that it would be really useful for many of us to get used to just saying, thank you for letting me know. You don't have to argue with someone about, if their feelings are right or wrong. You can thank them for the information, which doesn't mean that you necessarily even agree with them. Mm-hmm. But, thank you. And then you can go away and think about it and process it with someone else who's, in your circle or further out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I've been getting a lot of practice having difficult conversations on Facebook these days.
I know. I get to read them. Yeah, you're amazing. I think I avoid difficult conversations, so I'm impressed with your ability to navigate them. To really kindly point out things to people who are who are expressing opinions that you don't agree with, and
right.
that I don't agree with. Yeah.
Right. And I try to be kind. I try to keep it non-personal. I try to keep it about, the specific thing that we're talking about. I try to use analogies and metaphors that make my point easier to understand. I mean, my goal is to help people see what they're saying in a different way. Mm-hmm. And in some cases, it's actually helped people see things in a different way and to choose to speak and act differently, which is the only reason I keep doing it.
Right. Well,
It's painful.
It's not a lot of fun. Yeah. And in addition to the people that you're actually communicating with directly, having these public discussions with on Facebook, there are going to be people who are reading it who might have shared the opinions of the original poster, who are also getting perhaps a different perspective thanks to that hard work on your part. So I think that's terrific.
Yeah, and that's actually the reason why I started doing it. Mm-hmm. Was not necessarily to try to influence the person who is, saying the things. And it's not just like, we disagree. It's like, I think that they're behaving in a racist manner, or I think that they're behaving in a dangerous manner, or I think they're being complete jerks. But, so it's not just like, oh, well, I think we should do A and you think we should do B. I mean, it feels much deeper than that to me, the things that I end up having a conversation about. And I recognize, I don't want someone telling me how to think, but if someone provides me information that helps me think differently, that's a completely different situation.
Right. And you're also providing an example for like-minded people to communicate as well, So
yeah.
I think it's easy for me to say, but I think it's worth the effort. I think but I do think it has an impact, and I thank you for it.
Well, thank you. But it's also, I don't know, it's an interesting place to be, because I feel like this is important for me to do. And also I feel like I'm really learning, and that, I could probably look at things I said a month ago and might find them a little cringeworthy. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't look back. But I really feel like these difficult conversations are worth putting some effort into.
Right. Well, good.
Yeah. So, I don't know. And also, I feel like this needs to be brought up too.
What?
We found a baby mouse on Saturday.
And did you have any difficult conversations about the mouse?
We did have some difficult conversations about the mouse, because when you find a mouse that's so young, its eyes aren't opened yet, and it was in our car, and we have no idea how it got into our car. So, it wasn't like there was just a mouse and it probably just got away from its nest somehow. There was there wasn't a nest in our car, and we don't know where it came from, and so we couldn't put it back anywhere. And
was the window open at all in your car?
There's no way it could have gotten in from a window.
But was the window open at all in your car?
No.
Oh, because one time my neighbor's cat was in my car, and he got through the smallest open window. It was barely open. Uh-huh. And he was in there. I saw him. I thought it was my cat, so I freaked out. My cat didn't go outside. So I thought, gosh, maybe a cat brought that mouse in and left it for you. But no, if the window wasn't open, no.
No, the window wasn't open, and we have a couple working theories about how the mouse might have gotten into our car, mm-hmm. But none of them really make sense. It's all really quite a mystery.
Yeah.
But so then
tell us what happened to the mouse.
Well, so we had to decide what to do with the mouse, and so my vote was to save the mouse. And we did some Googling, and we found out the mouse was probably only about 10 days old.
Mm-hmm. It was very cute. I saw the pictures.
Yeah, so if anyone wants to see, they can look on my Instagram. But so we did some Googling and found out that you can actually bottle feed mice. So we got puppy formula and a kitten nursing bottle. And made a nice little nest for the mouse, and then bottle fed him every 2 hours. And I took a sock and put rice in it and warmed it up in the microwave, so he had a higher temperature. And then we ended up leaving him outside in a container, so that Cleo didn't have to get worked up about the mouse. And it was also warmer outside than it was in our house. So and then we were feeding the mouse every 2 hours. And it's really cute. Like he'd like put his little paws on the nipple and hold it while he was drinking out of the bottle.
Oh my gosh.
And Mike kept saying, "We can't name the mouse. We can't name the mouse." And then he's like, "What do you think Squeaky's doing?" And then I did some more Googling, because it occurred to me, like, I don't actually want to have a pet mouse, especially not a wild mouse. And, sort of what's our end game here? I don't feel comfortable just like raising this mouse until he opens his eyes and releasing him, because he's not going to survive that either. And so I did a little more Googling and found out that that the Audubon Society takes injured and abandoned, orphaned mammals in addition to birds.
Who knew?
I know, right? And they're open 365 days a year, but only until 5 p.m. And I found out at 5:02.
Oh
no. So then I thought, well, maybe we can, keep the mouse alive overnight. And I'm like, oh my God, am I seriously gonna? Okay, I guess we're setting our alarms for every 2 hours. But it turns out that they have a reciprocal agreement with the major 24-hour emergency vet in town, who will care for the animal until the Audubon Society can take them the next day when they open.
Nice.
Yeah, so we took the mouse there and we made a donation. I mean, it's not like the mouse was going to cost a lot to keep overnight, but we made a donation to support those efforts that they take care of.
Sure.
Of injured animals. And then the Audubon Society was going to take the mouse. So,
that's excellent.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because we wouldn't want that to go unnoted.
Yeah. Well, and that made Saturday a very strange day.
Yeah, that was the same day that you went to the protest.
Yeah, so, I spent the morning bottle feeding a mouse, and I spent the evening trying to recover from getting pepper sprayed by federal agents.
In the face, right?
In the face, yeah. So, it's there's a lot to pay attention to right now, and I don't know. I think it just felt like a lot of humanity on Saturday.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. I haven't been in a crowd since February 29th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first time I've been on a crowd since I think I flew home from Phoenix on March 11th or 12th.
Right. Oh yeah, that's right.
So, yeah. But anyway, do you have anything else to say about having difficult conversations?
No, but, yes, I say no and then I talk, right? Yes. I just want to thank you for sharing that, because I appreciate your perspective.
Yeah, of course. And I also just want to say, I got a lot of compliments and nice words from people, kind words from people after posting about my experience. And I mostly just want to say that, there's a lot of ways that you can support this movement without being on the front lines. And, while I understand there are a lot of people who wouldn't want to be where I was and would not choose to do that, it doesn't make what I did heroic in any way. It's just, I feel like this is something that we all should be supporting, and in whatever way you can, and that there are a lot of different ways to do it. So I don't think me doing that is, any more heroic than, people who are trying to get the vote out, or who are, wearing a Black Lives Matter mask, or are, donating money, or are, doing whatever they can, having difficult conversations with their friends and relatives. But I think it takes all of us to make a real difference.
Yeah. Hear, hear.
All right. So we want to hear from you, our listeners. Are you having difficult conversations? Do you have any things that you've done that you would like to share with us? You can let us know on social media, on Facebook and Instagram. We're at Getting to Good Enough. On Twitter, we're at GTG Enough. And you can leave us a message at 413-424-GTGE. That's 4843. Or you can always head over to our website, gettingtogoodenough.com, and leave a comment for us on the show notes. But for now, wait.
What?
I forgot what happens next. I totally brain farted.
Wait, I felt like weren't you on track?
I think I was on track, and then I thought I wasn't on track.
I did.
And I don't know what happened. Anyway, this is Shannon Wilkinson in Portland, Oregon.
And Janine Adams in St. Louis, Missouri.
And we hope that Good Enough is getting easier for you. At the beginning, I almost said your name.
Oh.
After I said my little bit, I almost said your little bit.
Oh, that would have been funny.
Yeah.